The source of my passion for permaculture is kind of rooted in stewardship for the earth. I was really into the environment as a kid, all that kind of stuff, and I had a realization, an epiphany, if you will, about the effectiveness of the kinds of work that I was doing to protect the environment. You know, sending my annual membership dues to the environmental organization, or writing to my congressman, or all of those things seemed like a real problem, like they weren't doing anything. It was time spent and nothing happened. And so I became somewhat obsessed with effectiveness and started to analyze things. And it's like, well, is what I'm doing right now really just assuaging my guilt, or is what I'm doing now really making meaningful change? I started analyzing all the things that I was looking at and considering doing in my life on the papaya standard. So that was, would the world be a better place if I did this thing that I'm thinking about doing, or if I spent an equivalent amount of time planting papayas? And what I was finding was I felt like a lot of the things were losing to the papaya standard. I would be a better benefit to planet Earth if I just planted papayas, or fill in papayas with avocados or jackfruits or apple trees or whatever it is, right? That concept of effectiveness really got ground into me, and I started to learn about permaculture and understand what's going on with permaculture. And what I found was I felt like a much higher rate of effectiveness, of actual making change. The idea that you don't have to wait for someone to tell you you can make change, you can just do it. That's how the passion for permaculture came along, was seeing people who weren't writing their congressman and weren't waiting for their congressman to pass a bill to say we're going to do something about reforestation. They just sorted out land access and started planting trees themselves. We don't need to wait for someone to tell us that we can do good things.
I get a lot of questions about eco-villages and intentional communities, and there's an awful lot of young people who want to be part of those. There's a lot of people who've been through university programs don't have any skills, like any practical skills. They can do all kinds of computer stuff and they can talk about social relationships, but they don't have any practical skills. I really like to think about those kinds of eco-villages, intentional communities of the people necessary as like the butcher, the baker, and the candlestick maker. You could have a lot of people not be there, but when you lose your doctor, it's a problem. You lose your farmer, it's a problem. You lose your shoemaker, it's a problem. So I like to think about everybody getting practical skills, and it used to be that even when people went to university, it was stressed by their elders, you should get a trade also. Get a trade, so you can always fall back on a trade in times of depression. I don't hear that anymore. Have a trade and then get schooling, or do it at the same time so you could do something practical. And I think we really need to think about being producers instead of consumers, and so that everybody and every sustainable farm has products that are going out, not just taking care of themselves, but something to trade and barter with and create a new economy. But some of the best kinds of people to include in eco-village or intentional community would be retired shop teachers and retired home ec teachers. And they have the skills and the patience to deal with people who are just learning these things. They know how to do it, they did it for years. If they can deal with middle schoolers and high schoolers, they probably can deal with people in their 20s and 30s who want to skill up. And so including those kind of elders, I think, would be very useful in anybody designing eco-villages and intentional communities. In terms of what do we do, how we use permaculture, I think we use it as a communication tool to explain to people what we're doing and why we think it's important. Any group that's trying to do something like an eco-village as a communication tool, have a common language to speak about these things, so they're not just emotional whims or heated discussions, but a way to think and communicate about all the different subjects that are required when moving back to the land or re-indigenizing ourselves.
I think there are two populations of greatest need. One is those who are caught up in the world of capitalism to a degree that they're trapped by it, and so they're almost like prisoners. They're so trapped in this that they really can't get out of it and can't see a way out, and they're often decision makers. The others are those who don't know there are choices or how to start. They can be refugees, they can be poorer places, people who have a right to know. So I think at the end of a big sausage we've got those who are too busy and those who cannot get access to it. What permaculture offers both those populations? One is an environment restored. I think it offers a quality of life that neither of them can imagine exists at the moment. I don't think they know very much about quality of life at all. So some cannot make choices because of poverty, others can't make choices because they're caught in a trap or a web of materialism that seems indispensable to them. So it offers them a third way that's good for both. It offers them some leisure, and it offers them creativity, and it offers them decision making, and it offers them autonomy and community at the same time in their lives.
Wow, thank you so much for everyone who contributed to those videos. It's amazing to see these pockets of people around the world who are truly creating regenerative change, and that part of the first place where we have to shift is within our thinking. And when we shift our thinking to realize that solutions abound within everything around us, then we can begin to welcome in the answers. It was very inspiring. So in our next segment coming up, we are very excited for this one. We have Antonio Natem Duku. He will be bringing a message from the Amazon. Antonio is a curandero from Peru. He is also a visionary artist as well, and a poet, a writer, an incredible healer, and we'll be welcoming him onto the space shortly. So thanks so much for your patience while he shows up. In the meantime, I'm going to welcome in his translator, Esteban Garcia Bravo, who has generously offered to translate for Antonio. So Esteban Garcia Bravo is a visual artist from Bogotá, Colombia, who migrated to India in 2005. He is currently an associate professor of computer graphics technology at Purdue University. Garcia Bravo creates light-based perceptual experiences that invite the viewer to become more aware of the present moment through the use of colors, shapes, and time. Welcome, Esteban. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, everyone, and very excited to help be an interpreter or a channel of Antonio's message. Among with like the rest of the people in the group, made an important impact in my life and healing through the ayahuasca medicine. So we had 3 ceremonies, and yeah, I can't wait to, meet Antonio again and meet his center in Iquitos.
Wonderful. Yes, he's definitely an incredible healer and a very talented artist and a beautiful heart.
Esteban, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you please speak? What do you think is an important part of Antonio's message? Can you share with us?
Yes, absolutely. Well, he might tell you the story himself, but he's a channel where there's these brothers that communicate with Antonio through like a higher realm. He started having these messages since he was 16 years old. He had a near-death experience, and he's still able to communicate with these entities. And what I felt while Antonio was singing his Icaros, I had access to this world, and it's really hard to put into words, but you can feel that there's intelligence that is sending a message from far away. And I think that today, I think he's already connecting. He'll be delivering one of these messages coming from the elder brothers. Bienvenido, Antonio.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Esteban. I really appreciate it. And thanks for rolling with our situation as we get everything figured out.
Absolutely.
It's very good to see you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Hola, Antonio.
Hola,
¿Cómo estás?
bien, gracias.
So I'm just going to read Antonio's bio off so that everybody has a clear understanding. And then we'll go into the conversation and you two will be having this facilitated Q&A. Antonio, hola. It's very good to see you.
Mucho gusto. Muchas gracias.
So Antonio Toni refers to himself as an artist, though at the age of 9, he had developed special abilities such as telepathy and telekinesis. At age 16, a tree fell on him, crushing a large portion of his skull. Hospitals would not accept to operate on him, and he was pronounced clinically dead. Meanwhile, his spirit was traveling to a different realm where he met with spirit teachers who continued to accompany him in his healings and ceremonies. Though growing up in rural Iquitos, he sought to learn various international modalities of healing. He also dedicates his time to his visionary art and poetry and tours internationally, sharing the teachings of Amazonian medicine. So from here, I will let the two of you take the conversation away. Thank you both for being here so much. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. Antonio, me preguntan, ¿puedes hacer una prueba de tu voz?
Sí.
Ok, dice que sí, puedes mover el micrófono un poco más cerca a tu boca. O sea, como desenredarlo un poquito.
Hola, hola.
Hola, mejor. Ahora voy a compartir mi pantalla. So I'm gonna share my screen with Antonio's images. Okay. And I'm gonna make the first question in English first and then in Spanish for Antonio. Voy a hacer la primera pregunta en inglés primero y después en español para que tú la digas. The question is, what can each person do in their own way from their home, from wherever they are in the world, to begin their change, their personal change, through a planetary beginning, a new planetary beginning or a new change? ¿Qué puede hacer cada uno en su manera, desde su casa, desde donde están en el mundo, para comenzar su cambio personal por un cambio planetario?
Es dedicar más tiempo hacia uno mismo.
It is to dedicate more time for yourself.
Dedicar más tiempo para observarse en cada uno el amor que vive en sí.
To dedicate more time to observe on each other the love that resides within.
Pues ya hemos creado muchas cosas que nos han distanciado de nuestro propio ser.
Because we have already created too many things that have distanced ourselves from our own self.
Es tiempo de dedicar a los seres queridos,
It's time
de compartir.
It's time to dedicate to our loved ones and to share.
De compartir cosas que ya no lo hacemos, pues todos estamos concentrados en 1000 cosas, pero nunca en uno mismo.
To share things with others, things that we can, but we don't do anymore because we're only focused on ourselves.
Es tiempo de dedicar también lo que es la alimentación, es comer más sano,
It's time
más
to
despacio.
It is time also to dedicate ourselves to eating more healthy, to eat slower.
Tiempo de también, si algunos tenemos el acceso a escuchar las aves, los insectos, el lenguaje que nos expresan cada día estos grandes seres.
It is also time to listen, if we can, to other beings such as birds and insects and listen to what these beings have to say.
Pues hay muchas cosas que ellos nos dicen y nos comparten.
Because there are many things that these beings tell us and share with us.
Porque empieza desde lo más simple.
Because it begins from the most simple.
Y no desde lo complicado que es el hombre.
And not from what is more complicated, which is man.
Porque no necesita de nada.
Because it doesn't need anything.
Nada que se pueda crear artificiosamente.
Nothing that can be created artificially.
Sino desde la simpleza del corazón.
But from the simplicity of the heart.
Del amor que hay en cada uno.
From the love that is within everybody.
De buscar la libertad.
To look for freedom.
Porque también siempre estamos creando cosas.
Because we're always creating things.
Y nos quedamos atrapados en nuestras propias creaciones.
And we stay trapped in our own creations.
Cada vez más prisioneros.
Every time more of prisoners.
Y no disfrutamos la libertad.
And we don't enjoy freedom.
Es tiempo de acercarse a la profundidad de cada uno. Es tiempo de acercarse a la oración.
It's time to get closer to the depths of yourself. It's time to get closer to prayer.
A la meditación.
Meditation.
A todas esas cosas que te involucran estar contigo mismo.
And all
en tu
those
centro.
things. And all those things that make you find your center and find yourself.
E intentar sonreír una vez al día.
You have to try to smile once a day.
Hay muchas cosas que se puede decir en estos tiempos de transformación.
There are too many things that can be said in these times of transformation.
Porque hay mucho, el ser humano siempre está consumiendo cosas.
Because the human being is always consuming things.
Y estamos depredando cosas.
And we're predators of things.
Debemos construir dentro de nuestro pequeño espacio.
We must build in our own little space.
Una especie de alegría, de felicidad, de energía pura y sana.
A type of energy that is happy and healthy.
Porque la mente está enferma.
Because the mind is ill.
Y el cuerpo sufre.
And the body is suffering.
Porque el espíritu está adormilado.
Because the spirit is dizzy.
Necesitamos recuperar nuestra espiritualidad. Necesitamos mirar en este espacio donde que hay la libertad de poder explorar cosas nuevas.
We need to find our freedom, and we need to find the space where we can try these new things.
Nuevas para aquellos que no conocen,
New for those who don't know them,
porque ya existieron hace mucho tiempo.
because they actually existed many years ago.
Ujú.
Gracias. Tenemos creo que viene una pregunta.
Ujú.
Okay. Does the artwork come from direct visions or are they intuitive? Las pinturas que estamos viendo, ¿vienen directamente de visiones o son puramente intuitivas?
Son visionarias, son visionarias.
They are visionary.
Bueno, ese lenguaje escondido que uno intenta expresar a través de esta forma de arte.
It is the hidden language that one tries to express in this art form.
Porque el hombre es completamente complicado.
Because the man is extremely complicated.
Un universo tan infinito
Such an infinite universe
que hay que ir descifrándolo lentamente como códigos.
that you must decipher slowly like codes
Y buscar una forma de equilibrio, como avanzar en este espacio, en este mundo.
and find a sort of equilibrium on how to advance in this world.
Hay tantas cosas que se puede decir.
There's so many things that can be said.
Hay tantas cosas que se puede compartir.
There are so many things that can be shared.
Más aún si uno intenta abrir su corazón.
And even more if you try to open your heart,
Donde la mente no tiene control.
where the mind has no control,
Y donde todo lo imposible puede ser posible.
and where all the impossible can be possible.
Porque ahí está la naturaleza verdadera del gran ser.
Because there is the true nature of the self.
Ujú.
Okay. Gracias. La siguiente pregunta, the next question. This comes from the question poll. Esta pregunta viene del grupo. Dice,
Ujú.
what can I do to become a better healer in my community? ¿Qué puedo hacer para convertirme en un mejor sanador en mi comunidad?
Es empezando de uno mismo.
You have to
Porque
start
cuando
from
uno,
yourself. Because when you have to start from yourself, because when you,
Ujú. Porque cuando uno está sano, emite energías positivas, irradia energías luminosas.
when you're healthy and when you're okay with yourself, you irradiate positive energy. luminous energy.
Eres como un imán que atrae cosas buenas porque dentro de ti van abriéndose cosas positivas.
It's like a magnet that starts attracting positive things because within you, it's opening and it's attracting good things.
Y sobre todo creer en las cosas que uno ha tomado como decisión de servir a los demás.
And most of all, to believe in the decision that you made of serving others.
Sí, debe haber mucho amor en ti para poder compartir ese amor hacia los demás.
There must be a lot of love in you to be able to share that love with others.
Ujú.
Gracias.
No hay nada más bonito que puedas compartir desde el amor con los demás,
There isn't anything more beautiful than the love that you can share with others,
porque esto te hace libre
because this makes you free
y también te da felicidad,
and will also give you happiness.
que es el alimento espiritual
That is the spiritual food
que te fortalece en tu ser, en tu interior.
that strengthens yourself and your interior. Hay otra pregunta.
Ujú.
Primero en inglés. Do you use practice like song, prayer, or meditation to communicate with entities, or is it a constant connection you can always call on freely? ¿Utilizas una práctica como canciones, oraciones o meditación para comunicarte con las entidades, con los hermanos? ¿O es una conexión constante que tú tienes que siempre puedes libremente acceder?
Es una conexión constante porque esto, lo que poseo es un regalo del Gran Padre, un regalo del Gran Espíritu.
It's a constant connection because it is a gift that I received from the Great Father. It's a connection of the Spirit.
Pero hay un puente donde puedes acceder a más información.
But there is a bridge where you can have access to more information.
Es una dieta.
That is the diet, a diet,
Para que todo lo que tú hagas esté más claro en tu mente, en tu corazón, en tu
so,
cuerpo, en tu espíritu.
so that everything that you do is clear in your mind, in your body, and in your spirit.
La dieta es muy importante
The diet is very important
porque eso es como el combustible que pones a tu auto para
because,
poder avanzar a todas las distancias que tú necesitas llegar.
because it is like the fuel that you put in your car so you can get and ride all the distance that you need to arrive to the place.
Ujú.
Ok. Hay otra pregunta. how can we connect with the voice of nature if we don't have Aya available to us? ¿Cómo podemos conectarnos con la voz de la naturaleza si no tenemos Aya disponible a nosotros?
Como las aves,
Like the birds,
como todos los insectos,
like all the insects,
y como todos los animales que emitimos una voz, un sonido, una frecuencia, una vibración.
like all the animals, we emit like a different frequency, a different vibration.
Entonces solamente hay que tener la intención
So then all you need is having the intention
para poder conectarse con nuestra naturaleza.
to be able to connect with our nature.
Buscar un espacio donde que tengas una flor, algo plantado cerca en tu jardín,
Look for something that you can have a connection with, like a flower or something in a garden.
y confiar en tu naturaleza íntima y soltar el sonido.
And trust in your intimate nature and release the sound.
Como arrullar a un niño.
Like taking care of a child or singing to a child.
Porque cuando cantamos o emitimos un sonido desde el corazón, volvemos a ser niños, volvemos a ser íntimos con la naturaleza.
Because when we sing and we make a sound with our heart, we become children again and we become one with nature.
Uh-huh. Pues todo nace de un sonido, todo empieza con un sonido.
Everything is born from a sound. Everything begins from sound.
Y siempre hay sonido hasta en el propio silencio.
There's always even sound in silence.
Porque todo está en movimiento, porque todo está vivo.
Because everything is in motion and everything is alive.
Entonces es fácil de conectarse con nuestro propio ser, con nuestra propia naturaleza.
And it's easy to connect with your own self and with your own nature.
Solo hay que intentar confiar en uno mismo,
You only have to try trusting yourself
en su propia fuerza,
in your own strength.
porque en cada uno de nosotros hay esa fuerza, hay esa naturaleza que se puede expandir fácilmente.
Because in each of us, there is that nature and there is that strength that can expand more easily.
Porque somos parte de esta chispa divina de nuestro Creador.
Because we are part of this divine spark from our Creator.
Uh-huh.
Ok, una pregunta nueva. What are your practices to open the heart and quiet the mind? ¿Cuáles son tus prácticas para abrir el corazón y tranquilizar la mente?
El poder máximo de un ser y de todos los seres está resumido en el sonido, en la palabra, en la voz, en el canto.
The maximum power of any being is condensed in the sound, in the voice, in the song.
Entonces, para entrar en esto, yo canto
So to
los
be
cantos de la selva,
so to be able to access this, I sing the songs of the jungle
para encontrar la paz, para encontrar el amor,
to find peace, to find love,
para encontrar la luz.
to find the light,
Y así mismo poder conducirse
and in the same way be able to take yourself
a cualquier dirección que uno ha elegido llegar.
to any direction that you have chosen to arrive.
Ese es el momento donde que uno puede estar íntimamente consigo mismo, en su paz, en su equilibrio, en su balance interior.
This is the moment that you can find yourself in yourself, in your interior.
Observen en las aves cuán feliz son cuando cantan,
Look at how happy the birds are when they sing,
porque es un símbolo de libertad.
because it is a symbol of freedom.
Ujú.
La siguiente pregunta.
Ujú.
In your community, how are children nurtured or dealt with when they display special gifts? What would be the ideal way? En tu comunidad, eh, ¿cómo, eh, cómo hace tu comunidad para cuidar o educar a los niños cuando demuestran regalos especiales? ¿Cuál sería la forma ideal de enseñarle a estos niños, la forma ideal de hacer que estos regalos sean más, crezcan?
Mm, Actualmente estas cosas se vienen perdiendo.
In today's world, these things are starting to get lost.
No hay tanto este misterio de proteger y cuidar.
There isn't so much that mystery of protecting and taking care,
Porque solo genera temor o impresión.
because it only generates fear or impressions.
Lo he vivido Hola.
Hola. Creo que se congeló un poquito. ¿Puedes repetir, por favor, lo último?
Claro, porque esto lo pude vivir personalmente.
Yes, because I was able to live this myself.
¿No? La gente tenía mucho temor, se extraña y esto generaba temor.
I was
Más que
able,
todo por la presencia. Ujú.
perdón, es que se cortó un poco. I was able to have these experiences
Ujú.
and they started manifesting and people had a lot of fear.
más que todo en este tiempo que la religión ha generado ciertos temores a la población.
And it's basically because in these times, religion has instilled a lot of fears in this population.
Pero recordando el pasado, sí han tenido un entrenamiento y han sido separados de la comunidad, ¿no? Han sido esta gente especial, estos niños especiales, fueron separados de sus propias comunidades.
But in past times, they were aware of these gifts, and these kids were taken apart to places and where they were able to work on these.
Y eran preparados por los grandes maestros, por los más antiguos, los hombres, los abuelos.
And they were prepared by the elders, the grandfathers, the antique brothers.
Uh-huh. Hay muchas cosas que se están cambiando. Es muy triste.
There are many things that are changing. It's very sad.
Todo se va transformando de una manera tan rápida.
Everything transforms in such a fast way.
Porque muchos están mirando la tecnología.
Because many are looking at the technology.
Y la gente ya no quiere dietar.
And people don't want to go on a diet anymore.
Porque hay tantas cosas nuevas.
Because there are so many new things.
Y esto llama mucho la atención a los jóvenes actuales,
And
a la nueva generación.
And this takes away the attention from the youth and the new generations.
Sí. ¿Puedo seguir hablando en todo caso?
Sí, por favor. He's going to continue.
Uh-huh.
Adelante.
El precio de la transformación y del cambio.
The price of transformation and change.
La Amazonía ha tenido que pagar muy caro.
The Amazon has had to pay very high price.
Porque se ven menos árboles,
Because you can see less trees,
menos naturaleza,
less nature,
más fábricas,
more factories,
menos animales,
less animals,
más contaminación.
more pollution.
Y esto es, en estos tiempos, es bueno reflexionar qué está pasando, por qué todo se está formando de esta manera.
And it is good in these times to reflect and to think about why are things forming in this way.
También la naturaleza habla por sí misma.
Also, nature speaks for itself.
¿Por qué nos enfermamos tan pronto?
Because we get sick so fast.
Porque hay menos oxígeno,
Because there is less oxygen,
más contaminación,
more pollution,
menos conciencia de lo que hacemos con nuestra naturaleza, con nuestra selva.
less consciousness about what we do with nature and our jungle.
hasta el espacio mismo está contaminado, se está contaminando.
And even the space itself is becoming polluted.
No hay la intimidad del silencio.
There isn't the intimacy of silence.
Ahora la tecnología está invadiendo todos los lugares y rincones de la selva.
Now technology is even polluting all the corners of the jungle as well.
Más antenas,
¿Puedes repetir eso último?
antenas, porque van creando más antenas de teléfonos, ¿no? De celulares. Y esto va depredando la intimidad de la selva.
Because they are creating new cell phone towers, and this is affecting the intimacy of the jungle.
Es como destruir la armonía del sonido, del espacio.
It's like destroying the harmony of sound and space.
Porque ya no se escuchan la pureza de las aves,
Because you
el
can't
canto.
because you can't hear the purity of the songs of the birds.
Porque por todos lados están entrelazados estas vibraciones energéticas de las celulares, de los satélites, de los canales. Todo esto está interfiriendo en nuestra selva, en nuestro mundo, en nuestro espacio.
So all these channels of communication are interconnected, and they are affecting the flow of our jungle.
Ujú.
Okay. A ver, otra pregunta.
Ujú.
What is the best way we can support the people and conservation of the Amazon? ¿Cuál es la mejor manera en la que podemos apoyar a la gente y a la conservación del Amazonas?
Es con la conciencia de que todos tomemos la conciencia de conservar estas áreas que son parte de nuestro pulmón del mundo.
With the consciousness that we all have that we must preserve these lungs of the world.
Necesitamos más orientación para que la gente tome esta conciencia de no destruir por simplemente un gran gusto de destruir la Amazonía. Necesitamos orientación, información a la comunidad.
We need to orient people about these resources and to teach our community about them.
Ujú.
¿Podrías elaborar un poco más en esto de de cómo la gente puede ayudar a conservar el Amazonas en
Ujú.
otras maneras, además de la conciencia?
Porque la gente no toma conciencia. Tú vas a los ríos, viajas en un bote, una lancha, y cada uno tira plástico.
People
Sí.
don't have consciousness. They get in a boat, and the first thing is to throw the plastic into the river.
Y la gente no es consciente y lo hace como no se miran los tachos de basura, ninguna indicación higiénica, ninguna orientación.
People are not paying attention to all the trash that they're making. They don't have any orientation about how to behave.
Sí, es triste mirar los ríos de la Amazonía están llenos de basura.
Amazonian rivers are full of trash
Porque el gobierno no dirige orientación a su pueblo, a sus pobladores.
because the government doesn't teach the population.
Y pienso que es más sobre información, ¿no? Porque la gente no está mirando cuánto daño hace a la selva, cuánto daño hace a sus ríos, porque de esos mismos consumen el agua.
People don't have the information about how much they depend on the rivers because they actually have to use that water for themselves. Dice Cristina que tenemos 2 minutos más.
Ujú. Sí, puedes hacer otra pregunta. No sé.
No tengo otras preguntas. I don't have any questions, but perhaps you can have some final thoughts. Antonio, no sé si de pronto, pues ya que no hay otra pregunta, puede ser de pronto un mensaje para cerrar.
Sí, claro.
Gracias.
Bueno, es tiempo de retornar al corazón.
It's time to return to the
Tiempo
heart.
de retornar al espíritu que tenemos enfermo, sufriendo.
Time to return to the spirit that is suffering.
Tiempo para meditar, tiempo para descansar.
Time to meditate, time to rest,
Descansar la mente que corre mucho.
to rest from the mind that is running too much.
Gracias por escucharme. Gracias por este precioso tiempo que ustedes dedican.
Thank you for listening to me and for this precious time that you're dedicating to me.
Gracias a esta organización, gracias a todos los que hacen posible que esto se pueda compartir.
Thank you for this organization and everybody that is making this sharing possible.
Cada uno, a todos y a cada uno de los integrantes que hacen posible esta conversación. Muchísimas gracias. Gracias también a todo el público.
To everyone that made this
Son
possible.
muy amables, muy amables. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, everybody who made this possible, and also thank you very much to the public. Gracias.
Antonio, muchas gracias por compartir tu medicina, tu mensaje. Gracias, gracias.
Gracias.
Wow, what a wonderful, wonderful grounding space to be in the middle of the day. Truly listening to the message of nature and our need to return to her. And just that, I'm weaving it in with what Mark was saying about that we just need to start somewhere, and how Antonio was saying that all we need to connect to nature is our intention. And so if all we have is our intention and we're starting from the first point, then it will grow from there. So thank you both so much. Gracias, Esteban, as well. Thank you.
Thank you everyone, and it was very nice to be here. Gracias.
Gracias.
Adios.
Adiós.
Thank you.
Whew, my heart is so full from that. Wow, that was incredible. I'm definitely going to want to listen to that again and just seeing the simplicity and the vastness of this universe, that the more simple we become, the more we can truly behold the vast complexity and brilliance of the world that we're a part of. Thank you. Thank you. You can find more of Antonio's work at a couple different websites. I'm hoping that it looks like we've just posted them in the chat. They're a little bit hard to speak just because they're, different words together and whatnot, but definitely find more of his work there, both from a healing perspective as well as his visionary artwork is gorgeous, and his poetry as well is another form that his medicine comes through. So thank you all for being here. So as we come to a midpoint in our program, I'd like to take a moment to just set the context for the space that we're in. All of us, in some respect or other, from each facet that we've come here, deeply care about the earth, and we care about each other, and we're ready to make a change, or we're already deeply invested in making the changes that we're making, and we're coming to share about what those are. And so this space that we're in right now is made possible by all of your generous donations. Thank you so much. It's being able to create a community context in which we can hold this council and exchange ideas and share resources and form connections so that we can become a more unified biosphere is so special. So I just want to invite everybody to donate to the McKenna Academy if you feel inspired to. We do have a button at the bottom of the screen that will allow you to make a donation, and we are so appreciative. And it goes directly towards continuing to create educational, consciousness shifting spaces and forums in which we can truly reweave symbiosis into our conscious way of being in cadence with the rest of the biosphere. So thank you so much.